I was in the kitchen, chopping onions for dinner when she said it. Her voice was unervingly calm, almost rehearsed. I slept with my coworker last night. The knife stopped midair. I stared at her, the blade trembling in my hand. My chest tightened, not from anger at first, but from a sharp, surreal disbelief that made the room spin slightly. She looked at me waiting. Not apologizing. Not panic. Just waiting. "Congrats," I said finally, my voice flat, almost foreign to me. Her eyebrows lifted. "Excuse me." I put the knife down gently, as if the weight of steel could contain the storm building inside me. "Congrats. Yes. I should be happy for you." She blinked, confusion flickering across her face. Then slowly the mask slipped. "You're not angry." "I don't know," I admitted. "Right now I'm mostly trying to process how someone I trusted completely could do something like this." Her lips quivered, a ghost of remorse. But it was faint, distant, like she was observing herself from far away. "It just happened. We were drinking after work and things got out of hand." I laughed, but it was hollow. A sound that scraped against my own throat. "Out of hand? You mean cheating? That's the word, isn't it?" She looked down at her hands. I didn't mean for it to happen. Stop," I said, cutting her off. Don't try to justify this." The air between us thickened. The onions on the counter were a blur. The smell, sharp and bitter, filled my nose, but I barely noticed. All I could feel was the jagged fracture of everything I thought I knew about her, about us. We had been married for 7 years. 7 years of shared mornings, of laughter over burnt toast, of whispered confessions in the dark. And yet, here she was, peeling away the truth like it was nothing more than a casual revelation. "I don't know what to say," she whispered, her voice trembling now. I wanted to tell you sooner, but I didn't know how." I sank into the kitchen chair, my hands gripping the edge until my knuckles turned white. "So you waited until now? After sleeping with him? After betraying me?" Tears pooled in her eyes, finally breaking through the cold veneer. "I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I don't even know why it happened. I swear it meant nothing. Nothing." My voice cracked this time, raw and unfiltered. "It meant everything to me. Everything." Her face fell. She reached toward me, as if to touch my arm. I recoiled instinctively. Don't touch me." "Couldn't. Not yet. Not ever, maybe." She had fractured the foundation of our life together with a single night. And it was worse because she said it so matter-of-factly, like a casual admission of some trivial mistake. I've been miserable," she said finally, her words small, almost drowned by the gravity of her betrayal. "I felt trapped, stifled. You were always so busy with work, with your projects, with everything. And I felt invisible." Her confession struck a chord, sharp and cold. I could hear the pain in her voice, the ache of loneliness she had carried silently. I hated that she had felt invisible. I hated that I hadn't noticed. But more than that, I hated that she had chosen to disappear into someone else instead of speaking to me, instead of trying to fix the things we could have fixed together. "I didn't know," I whispered, my voice barely audible. "I thought we were happy. I thought we were in this together." She shook her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. "We were. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake." The word mistake echoed in the room, hollow and inadequate. A mistake implied carelessness, an accident. This wasn't careless. This was deliberate. This was betrayal wrapped in wine and excuses. I leaned back in my chair, my mind spinning. Images flashed before my eyes. Her laughter at the office parties, her late-night texts, the subtle change in her scent. The moments I had ignored, dismissed, convinced myself were nothing. And now, the truth slapped me with the force of a tidal wave. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again," I said, my voice trembling, but steadying with a painful clarity. "And I don't know if I can stay in this marriage." She sat down opposite me, wiping her tears. "I understand." I don't expect you to forgive me, not right now. Or ever. I just needed you to know the truth. The silence that followed was suffocating. Each tick of the clock was a hammer against my heart. I thought about the life we had built together, the apartment, the photos, the plans we had made. And now it felt like sand slipping through my fingers, impossible to hold on to. I need space, I said finally, my words cold, distant. I can't face you tonight. Or maybe ever again, I don't know. She nodded, understanding or pretending to. I'll leave, she said quietly. She stood, and for the first time I really saw her. Not as my wife, but as a stranger who had once been intimately familiar. The door clicked shut behind her, and I was left alone. Alone with my thoughts, my anger, my grief. I sank to the floor, the weight of reality pressing down on me. The betrayal was not just about her actions. It was about the erosion of trust, the shattering of a bond one had believed unbreakable. I thought about calling my best friend, but even that felt impossible. Words would fail me. I couldn't explain the hollow ache in my chest, the way every memory of her now carried a sting of deceit. Hours passed. I moved mechanically, cleaning the dishes, trying to reclaim some semblance of normalcy. But every corner of the apartment reminded me of her, of what we had lost. When night fell, I found myself standing at the window, staring at the city lights. They seemed distant, unreachable, like my life had suddenly shifted to a place I didn't recognize. I thought about her coworker, the man who had stepped into our marriage and altered it irrevocably. I didn't hate him. Or maybe I did. But more than that, I felt an emptiness, a grief for the life we had promised each other. I didn't cry. Not at first. There was no catharsis, only a numbness that seeped into my bones. But then, as the night deepened, the reality hit me fully. The woman I had loved with every fiber of my being had chosen another. And there was no fixing that. Weeks passed in a blur of work and solitude. She left the apartment, taking her things, leaving a quiet, echoing void. Friends reached out, offering comfort, but their words sounded hollow. Only the silence in the apartment spoke the truth. The life we had was over. I began to write in a journal, pouring out my thoughts, my rage, my sorrow. I wrote letters I would never send, confessions of my heartache, admissions of my own failings. I tried to understand her reasons, to dissect the night she betrayed me, to make sense of it. But some things I realized are beyond understanding. Months later, I saw her at a cafe. She was with him, laughing, her hand brushing against his. My heart thumped painfully, a cruel reminder of everything I had lost. I wanted to run, to scream, to demand explanations that would never suffice. But I didn't. I just watched, a silent observer to the life she had chosen. That night, I went home and stared at the ceiling, thinking about the word trust, how fragile it was, how easily it could shatter. And I realized something. Forgiveness was optional. Healing, however, was mandatory. I didn't need to understand why she had betrayed me. I only needed to reclaim myself, piece by piece, from the wreckage of our marriage. In time, the pain dulled. Not because I forgot her or because I excused her actions, but because I chose to live in spite of it. I found solace in small things. The smell of rain on the pavement, the warmth of sunlight on my face, the quiet satisfaction of a day well spent. And slowly, I began to remember what it felt like to be me again, whole and unbroken. Her betrayal was a wound that would never fully disappear. But it taught me something essential. Love is not ownership, and trust, once broken, is a lesson in the fragility of the human heart. And while I would always carry the memory of what happened, I could choose whether it defined me, or whether I chose to rise beyond it. The kitchen knife I had set down the day she confessed sat on the counter, gleaming in the late afternoon light. I picked it up not to cut, but to hold. A reminder that life, like the blade, was sharp, capable of pain, but also capable of precision, of purpose. And with that, I stepped forward, leaving behind the shadows of betrayal, carrying only the strength I had forged from heartbreak.